So here we are, folks. We are at Southern New Hampshire University for a game between the Goffstown Grizzlies and Pembroke Academy. And now we're going to announce the Goffstown Grizzly team. Alyssa Lombardi, number 16. Batting second will be Kate Mazurski. Batting third will be third baseman Taylor Gagnon. Batting fourth, second baseman Shannon Gifford. First base, batting fifth, Megan Purcell. In right field, Amber Davis. Batting seventh will be the shortstop, Justine Watterson. Batting eighth will be the pitcher, Kaylee Schwinnard. And batting ninth will be the center fielder, Carol Landry. So we got off to a pretty quick start here, Bill. Public address announcer just got everybody going, and we're going to now pause for the playing of the national anthem. All right, Bill, this is another big game for Goffstown. We're in the semifinals here at Southern New Hampshire University. I do want to thank Southern New Hampshire University for being a tremendous host. They've allowed us to be in the press box and to record this game for Goffstown Television. So big thanks to Snoo.
This is a game that I always considered the semifinal game the most important because it gets you to the finals. You get to the finals, there's only two teams left, and they're the best. This one gets you there, and I think we've got a real good chance to do this. We beat this team during the season 3-1. It looks like they've made some improvements during the year, but looking at us, we've also improved a great deal.
Yeah, I would agree. I think, these are two evenly matched teams, though, I have to say, and it's also very safe to say that the four teams that are in the semis, and that's Sauhegan, Milford, they're playing the other bracket, and then Pembroke and Goffstown. Legitimately, these are the four. And you could have thrown Pelham in there, but these are four real good teams, and any one of these teams is going to win this thing. There is no favorite coming into this, that's for sure. So it's all going to come down to, execution. And I've always found in these games, Bill, it's like who plays kind of loose. because the teams that are tense, they seem to, as you know, it's like if you have, if you're tense, whether you're hitting a golf ball or hitting a hitting a baseball or a softball, it affects your swing, and mentally it can be a little bit challenging. So those that are loose seem to play better, and hopefully Goffstown is loose today.
You want to be loose, but you don't want to be too loose and make those plays which you can't make. Try to make, a super play. You keep the ball in front of you. You throw to the right base. Do things like that, and you got a real good chance to win this
So
game.
what you're going to see here, as you can see, they're at home plate now, and in these types of games, semifinals and championship games, you're going to have 3 umpires. Ordinarily, you see 2 in many of the games, and now you're going to see 3. So it'll be, we should see, just better positioning on calls, not necessarily better calls from umpires, but they're in a much better position to make the call. And it's a judgment call whenever, they're doing balls and strikes or, making calls for outs in the infield or the outfield. So I do like the fact that there are three umpires for these games.
Got a little bit of wind here, too. Looks like it's going from
well, I think you like
right.
the wind. And interesting, Goffstown likes this Guns N' Roses song, Welcome to the Jungle, and it's something that they come out to the field on at Goffstown High School. They just happen to have it here at SNU, and I asked them to cue it up for us. So, again, big thanks to the folks here. And before we get started, I want to wish the best of luck to both teams, and we're looking forward to a well-played, clean game.
Well, we go with Chouinard, and Chouinard's had a great year. You can't take a thing away from her. She's approaching 100.
Isn't she going in with 98? Yeah.
98, only walked 19 batters, given up 25 runs in 69 innings, and that's pretty darn good, especially with the teams we played against and who she's pitched against.
And again, just for a little housekeeping, I'd be remiss if I didn't thank our good friend Butch Gifford, who's operating the camera, and Brad Parkhurst is here as well. He's helping us with using the iPad, which does the graphics for us. So I want to thank those gentlemen for making the trip here to Southern New Hampshire University. We don't do a whole lot of road games, so it's kind of a pleasure to do one at such a beautiful venue.
Conley is a returning player.
Yeah, so my scouting report tells me that the big hitters, and Connolly is one of them, but the big hitters are 1 through 5, with 3 and 4 obviously being the most potent. So here comes the first pitch. And that was probably inside for a ball. We don't have quite the vantage point that we do at Goffstown High School. I feel a lot more confident, I guess maybe second-guessing umpires, but here, not really the case. And that's hit sharply, but foul. She got around on that one.
This outfield being much bigger, the girls have to really be careful in the outfield, getting good breaks on the ball.
So we got a 1-1 count. And that's an off-speed pitch. And that's in there for a ball, so that's a 2-1 count to number 17, the catcher, Brianna Connolly. And that looked good, but not according to the umpire. So that's a 3-1 count. And it looks like Chouinard is trying to paint some of the corners, but she's just not getting the calls right now. And that's popped up out of play. I was talking to Kaylee after the last game, and she was a little bit frustrated with the umpire in the sense that, she was just not getting calls where she would typically get them on the corners, and that does spell frustration for any pitcher. That's popped. Yeah, she's got a real quick bat. And that's what it takes in these playoff games. And I know I've been, a little bit critical of players. You can't have a long swing when you get to the semis, quarters, semis, and finals because the pitching is up a notch. That's another foul ball. And wise of Gagnon to be playing on the line here.
Yeah.
Because she is definitely getting around on it. I think the key to success here for Chouinard is I think she's going to need to really mix up her pitches and keep these guys guessing.
I'd almost move the
Yep.
left fielder.
Oh, Mazurski?
Too. Yeah.
Another one. She was way ahead of that one. So we got a full count here in the top of the first inning. Connolly at the plate. And that's high for ball 4. And arguably there was a couple of really close pitches there for Chouinard, and she just didn't get those calls.
So I think now we'll see what type of game
Yeah,
they want
I
to
mean,
play.
again, a lot of times you see small ball here. So we've got Olivia Langevin, the shortstop, and she's got good speed from what I hear. She's a slap hitter, and she pops one out of play. And she was swinging, so there's no bunt here. From what I'm told, she's so fast she can probably beat out infield hits. So Goffstown needs to get the ball out of their gloves quickly. And that's high for a 1-1 count.
She's also a returning player from last year.
And that's fouled. That's what you got to do. You got to change things up. And she changed up the speed on that one, kept it low. And that's the other key with these hitters. You want to keep the ball low. 1-2 count to Olivia Langevin, the shortstop. Number 17, Connolly at first. And that's hit. Caught! Beautiful catch by Justine Watterson, who leapt in the air to make a nice grab. And I tell you, she's been so impressive this year, Bill.
Yep. Yeah, she's been real steady.
And in steps Olivia McCarty, the third baseman. And she takes one for strike one. Yeah, Watterson's been really great with the glove at short this year. And that's another one. I remember talking to Matt during right after tryouts, and I'm like, who's your shortstop? He's like, I'm not sure. He goes, I think I got this one kid. And sure enough, that one kid was Justine Watterson. She's just come through big time. And that's a strikeout for Chouinard, her first of the game and number 99 on the year. So Stephanie Berube is the pitcher and arguably the power hitter for Pembroke. That one was barely on the outside corner for ball 1. And again, Bill, we talk about this all the time, right? It's as long as the umpire is calling it both ways, it is what it is. Pitcher has to adjust. And now she goes on the inside part of the plate. She doesn't get that call either. So she's trying to paint the corners, and the umpire looks like he has a real tight zone right now.
I think Lombardi really wanted that pitch.
2-0 count. And that's in there. She took a little off that one. That makes it 2-1 count. And that's fouled off. Butch, we got a little bit of feedback from our good friend Joe Parumba in Goffstown saying that we were a little slow on the graphics. So I got Brad doing it exclusively, and we're hoping to get a good grade from Joe. So, Joe, if you're watching on this, which I know you're a dedicated viewer, we put our best person, Brad Parkhurst, on the graphics. 2-2 count to Stephanie Berube. Yes, and I am checking the camera to make sure, Butch. 2-2 count to Berube, the pitcher, with a runner at first in Connolly. And that's outside. That's a full count. So the runner will be going on a 3-2 count with 2 outs. And the first base coach is reinforcing that one. And here comes the payoff pitch. And that's a strikeout for Chouinard. And that is number 100 on the season for Kaylee Chouinard. And I'll tell you, that could spell trouble for Pembroke, because when Kaylee Chouinard gets into a groove and she has confidence, and I think she just got a little bit of confidence in that first half. And I always worry, Bill, about first innings, don't you?
I think what we've seen so far is that
it
takes her an inning or so to get loose, to get the feel of maybe even the umpire. But today she seems like she's zoned
Great
right
kid.
in on it.
And I tell you something, I think it's that focus that she has. She really doesn't get rattled all too often. So we're going to have Stephanie Berube pitch for Pembroke. And to kind of go around the horn for them, they've got at first base, they're going to have Chloe Carignan. At second base, Rachel Denoncourt. Third base is Olivia McCarty. I'm sorry, shortstop would be Olivia Langevin. And third base would be Olivia McCarty. In the outfield, the right fielder is Danielle Parent. The center fielder is McKaylee Loomis. And the left fielder is Kayla Paquin. And last but not least, behind the plate is number 17, Brianna Connolly.
Now, I talked to a couple of the kids last week, and I talked to Taylor Gagnon, and she said this pitcher's good. She moves the ball around, and it's going to be a bit of a challenge.
Well, it was interesting when we gave up that first base on balls in the top of the first. There was no small ball. There was no bunting, and I'm curious to see if Lombardi gets on here. What's Goffstown's strategy? Are they gonna play small ball? And I will tell you this: that over the last couple of years, I've seen Coach Fleming, shift. He used to be all about the big innings, and now he has no problem, bunting runners around.
No, I think he's using the talent that he has the right way.
And she hits one to third. That's a tough hop. Throws over quickly, and that's a first pitch, first swing by Lombardi to third, and a real strong throw by Olivia McCarty for the out. So Kate Mazorski comes in, number 18, playing left field.
Third baseman's back.
Not really. She's up. That's a check swing strike. Yeah, I mean, if you got to make a decision on those, right? She got kind of caught in between.
It was.
Yeah.
Waved at it.
And she bunts, and they saw that one coming a mile away.
Oh, it's too hard. Yep.
And again, I think based upon the play that I saw from number 10, I think you want to stay away from that third baseman.
Also,
it's
this
harder.
field's a lot different than ours. This field is hard, so you really got to take a lot off the bunt. She's out ahead of that one.
Yeah, you got to take some pitches here. They've been hitting, pretty much. I think she's only pitched like 5 pitches. That's low. And see, that's a real good important point that our cameraman Butch was making, was that they were taking a lot of pitches for Chouinard. They drew a walk, and you got to see what this girl can do. High. So it's good to be aggressive, but you got to create opportunities for yourself, and that's with walks as well. She hits one sharply to the shortstop, who throws over to first in time. There you go. That's 3 up and 3 down, but a ball well hit by Gagnon. All ground outs. And Goffstown goes down in the bottom of the first, and we're scoreless at 0. I tell you, I'm going to have to give Goffstown High School a little bit of, I guess I can't say good things, because Pembroke brought their their bucket band, I call them. Very active out there. Got a good crowd here. With a first of 2 games tonight, you're going to see Souhegan and Milford. So the takeaways in that bottom of the first were, you got a pretty strong infield by Pembroke, especially at third base, and I'd say even shortstop. Good, strong arms.
Yeah.
And as our cameraman Butch mentioned, very hard infield surface. Ball's going to go a little faster than normal. That ball's hit into the outfield. Under it is Davis, and she makes the grab for the first out. So that's a first pitch, first swing out. In steps Chloe Carignan, the first baseman, a lefty, and they're shading her a little bit over towards the line, so they're playing her to pull somewhat. And she takes strike one. Shortstop Watterson is playing deep. Gagnon at third is playing about even with the bag, maybe one step forward. And that's popped up. This is playable to Ali Lombardi, and it hits the fence. So it hits the backstop, but good job by Lombardi, who threw that catcher's mask off. So quickly, Chouinard has an 0-2 count on Carignan. And she swings through that one for another strikeout. So quickly, Chouinard has 3 Ks. And in steps Danielle Parent, the right fielder. A right-hand batter, and we got Kara Lendry. She's playing, I'd say, a little 2 or 3 steps in normally, and I'd say the same thing with, that's outside for a ball.
Parent's another returnee from last year's team.
That's fouled to the third base side. You got to admire Gagnon's hustle there, even though the ball was clearly out of bounds. That's good practice. Backhanding it. Protecting the third base coach. And that's hit to Gagnon. She stays with it. She's still got her. Nope. Safe. So that was I think that's an error, to be honest with you. It was right in front of her, and she didn't field it cleanly. It's a tough hop, but it's still an error.
Error. Yep.
Let's see if Snoo has the same thing on that one. We've got error on that one? Okay.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, here we go. I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe you'll see a little bunt.
That's
maybe.
in there for a strike.
Nope.
A 1-1 count to Catherine Krumis, the designated hitter. And she fouls it off, so it's a 1-2 count. Tell you, what a beautiful facility here, you know? Really nice. They're doing so much construction at Snoo. Another one to third. She throws over and gets her. So Taylor Gagnon atones for that error on the play before and throws out Krumis to end the inning.
No runs, no hits, 1 left on base.
So for those of you who have not been out to Southern New Hampshire in a little bit, they've closed down North River Road, right? I think that's what it's called. That's the road that literally goes right through the campus, and I believe they're doing a lot of infrastructure improvements on that road, and they're trying to make it so that it's safer because this school has expanded like incredibly over the last decade, and I believe that they're trying to create a traffic flow that is safer for pedestrians and the students. So that road is closed. There's a little bit of a detour, but when you go around the detour, you realize how much land is around here and how many buildings they're putting up. Not just academic buildings, but I think they're building a new athletic complex, new gym.
New gymnasium.
New dorms. It's quite the thing here.
Must be a large endowment. I know they have a lot.
Yeah,
of
it's not an
foreign
endowment.
students
I
here.
heard that they're just they're doing extremely well on their online, and because they're a nonprofit, they have to spend their money, and so they're able to really reinvest very, very heavily. So we've got Shannon Gifford leading off, the shortstop. I'm sorry, the second baseman. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. And she takes.
Shannon comes in with like a 563 average, a gaudy 563.
And she quickly gets into an 0-2 hole. And I think this is where Shannon's going to have to, develop in terms of watching out for off-speed pitches, because that's what they're going to give her a high diet of.
The catcher wants that low pitch.
That was a close one, but it was looked a little bit low. So again, the umpire has got a tough zone, very tight. She hangs in there and fouls that one off. So both pitchers are faced with a pretty narrow strike zone here, from what I've noticed. Now, sometimes that strike zone expands as the game goes on because the umpires are looking towards dinner time. But right now, it's tight. And Gifford swings through that one for a strikeout. Yeah.
More of a change.
And in steps Purcell. So with one out, Purcell steps in. That's in the dirt.
Purcell shows a .403 average.
That's in there for a strike. I almost wondered if her release was like way off on that one. I mean, if you saw like her foot on the rubber, it was that one looked like it was. I don't know if you picked up on that. I know Butch likes to follow that because you're supposed to have your foot on the rubber.
I'm watching the first base umpire. He's paying attention.
Yes, I personally think that's it's close to being an illegal pitch.
2-2.
Not often called though. You see this, I really like this at bat by Purcell, and I really wish that the other Goffstown players would have done this earlier on, is that, it's a productive at bat when you're making her pitch a lot. Great hit by Purcell right up the middle.
Yeah, that's going to get her.
So
Nice job.
I wonder, Matt Fleming has quite the bench here, and I wonder if he's going to bring in a runner. Not sure if he will or not. He has like 7 extra players, and not sure if he wants to, burn a reserve, and looks like he's not going to do that. So,
no,
yep.
not early. I don't
So
think.
Davis steps in, number 3. So Purcell gets the first hit for Goffstown, and that's in there for a strike. And for that matter, Purcell gets the first hit of the game. And Amber Davis, she takes that first pitch as a strike. And she hits one foul.
Foul.
And I've said this from the beginning, so go Purcell, so go Davis, so goes Goffstown. And not to put pressure on them, I just think that they are the frosting on the cake, in my opinion. If they get hot, this team will be unstoppable.
265.
And that's hit to the shortstop. This could be trouble. Could be 2.
Going to try to turn
No.
2.
All right. So good job by Amber Davis getting down the line. That could have been a textbook double play. Good job by the shortstop getting it out, but I noticed that it was tough for the second baseman to get out of her glove. So now we've replaced, we have Amber Davis at first, and at the plate is the shortstop, Watterson.
The hero of
You're right.
Saturday's
home
game.
run, and someone who's not really known for her power, but she's hit 2 home runs in the past week and a half. And that's trouble. Oof. Good job by Davis holding on to the bag. And a good snap throw. So this is good indication for Pembroke. For Goffstown, that Pembroke has got some players here. Good throw by that catcher. And Watterson hangs
Late
in there,
on the
but
swing.
she was real late on that one. So the outfield for Pembroke is playing about regular depth. Same with the infield. I said the first baseman is about 2 steps in, which is typical. And that ball is caught by Berube.
Whoa.
What a great catch by the pitcher, Stephanie Berube. Look
what I
great
found.
defense by Berube.
No runs, 1 hit, 1 left on base.
Yeah, that was a really good reflex by Berube. Yeah, I think we're going to be in for a great game here. Both teams have brought their A games. Yeah, they're very evenly matched. Yeah.
So far.
I would like to see Goffstown take some more pitches myself because especially Lombardi. Lombardi doesn't strike out that often, so for her to first strike, that's not Lombardi. I don't know why you do it. You know, Mazurski, same thing. I mean, you got to you want to go deep into these counts if you can. And I think the real good learning experience in that last half inning was Megan Purcell, because she stepped in there and she took pitches and then she waited on the pitch that she could handle and she drove it right up the middle. So McKaylee Loomis, the center fielder, leads off. Left-handed batter. She bunts. That's a great bunt. She fielded by Schwinnard. Nope. And she double clutched that one. I don't know. That was a perfect, yeah.
She brought it back into her glove.
I don't know if there would have been a play anyway. That was just a very well executed bunt. So that's a hit for Loomis. So we know she's got tremendous speed. Let's see if they try to steal here.
Yeah, we're playing too deep at third.
So Paquin, number 17, I should say, Brianna Connolly. And she takes a strike at the letters. Again, I'm a little surprised that they're not playing any type of small ball here with, runner at first, you bunt over, you got a runner at second, you got 2 chances to bring in a run. She shows bunt.
Tried it.
Everyone's moving on that play, so Purcell goes to field the bunt. We got Gifford running over to first, and got Davis running over in the outfield to cover for a potential overthrow. And now it's a 2-1 count to Connolly, who walked her first at bat. And she hits one sharply. And that's a beautiful play by Taylor Gagnon. And she really had to wait on her throw so Gifford could get over there. And I'll tell you, force outs and double plays in softball, they're a lot harder than what you think. It's a lot harder in softball than it is in baseball. And there's a steal going. She's in there cleanly. She's fast. So 17, Brianna Connolly, she steals second base.
Now I bet you're
well,
looking
I don't
at
know. I mean, only one out. Back to the pitcher. And you got to run it in.
Run it in.
Just give it to the pitcher, then you have to go back. So that's a productive out, though, for Pembroke because it brings the runner over to third.
So
but these are all, that's good execution by Pembroke because you get a steal, you get the runner over to third on a grounder, and then all you need is a wild pitch, and you've got to run. So that's how these games are won and lost. Because I'll tell you, a lot of these games, Bill, they're won and lost by 1 or 2 runs. She swings through that one.
Plus you do have a larger area behind home plate than we have at Goffstown.
Well, there's grass too. It's not like I don't know if they were testing to see how the ball comes off that backstop. I don't know what happened there. She pitched. So she pitched and stopped. That's a balk.
Balk.
And that brings in a run. I've never seen that.
It's an unearned run.
And it's hard to say what happened on that. Another play to Gagnon. Throws it over, and that'll do it. But Pembroke squeezes out a run there just on a really great play. So they get on by a bunt, and then there's a fielder's choice, and then they steal second, ground out to the pitcher, gets the runner over to third. And like I said, weird things can happen, whether that's a wild pitch, a pass ball. In that case, it was a balk, and they take a 1-0 lead on Goffstown. That's called manufacturing runs, and that's what wins games.
That's not characteristic of us either.
Well, it's like I say, if one run, if you lose a 1-0 game, you didn't deserve to win a championship or a game, because teams like Goffstown that had some pretty good bats, if you're Kaylee Schwinnard, you got to say, listen, my team has got to be able to put at least one run up to tie it up.
Yeah.
So you're going to have the pitcher, Schwinnard, so she will lead off here. I do think, though, that, depending upon the situation, I think there might be a play that's kind of off limits now for Goffstown. That could be the bunt to get on. I do think that the potential is there to advance runners with bunts, but I think the bunt base hits, which have been very common in Goffstown, will be a little more challenging due to the effective play of the third baseman, for one, but also the infield here, which is a lot faster, unless they really deaden the ball. And the third baseman's playing in about 5 steps. So is first. And that ball is looped to the second baseman. Again, first pitch swinging by Goffstown. So, and in comes Carol Lendry. And I think admittedly, Kara's had a couple of tough games at the plate. So hopefully she can snap out of it.
She still shows a 393
and she takes,
average.
She takes that first pitch, which she typically does. She likes to see what's coming.
Yeah.
That's low as well. And I'll tell you, Lendry was super hot pretty much through, at least I'd say halfway through the season, if not more. So she's only really struggled the last couple of games. And I'm not sure what that was. Was that an attempted bunt? What was that?
Looked like it was awful.
Yeah, but I don't know if you even want to bunt here, because the first baseman is in a great position to field, although the second baseman's playing pretty deep. And that's a strike. So quickly with that little deal, she's in a 2-2 count. So Lendry with a 2-2 count with 1 out in the bottom of the third. She hits one, a squibber, and that'll go to the third baseman, who, I tell you, this kid is awesome. Number 10, Olivia McCarty. She is fast. So Lombardi, who took a first pitch and hit the ball and grounded to third. Let's see if she tries to go a little deeper into the count. And she takes that first pitch as a strike. So Berube having a good game. I'll tell you, she hasn't had to pitch that many pitches, throw that many pitches.
She's got great support.
She's got great infield.
Too.
Right to the shortstop, right at her. And that'll do it. So a ground out for Lombardi to short, and Goffstown goes down. And I'll tell you, with the exception of the Megan Purcell hit, Goffstown hasn't really done a whole lot. They put the ball in play on a few occasions, but they've been grounders to a really great defensive team in Pembroke.
No mistakes on their part. Now we get into the situation where you're going to the fourth. You cannot allow
you got to be
any
careful
more
there.
runs. Because we haven't shown much, so you cannot allow any more runs.
So we got Berube, the pitcher, coming up, or no? We got, yeah. And she struck out her last at bat. So the sky has turned gray. We got a little bit of a breeze, which is good because it keeps the mosquitoes away. I tell you, Taylor Gagnon's been earning her pay today. I think there's been, what, four balls hit her way?
2,
Yeah.
4, yep.
And that same thing with the Pembroke player. I think there's been like 3 or 4 her way as well. So third base is earning their keep. So Berube, the pitcher, comes into the game as she's batting. Here comes Chouinard's first pitch to her. That's in there for a strike. And that's
change up.
And that's a ball. So 2 balls and 1 strike to Berube. Outfield at regular depth. That's in the dirt. So a 3-1 count to Berube. And I'll tell you one thing that Goffstown needs to be really careful of is that this team's speed is pretty good. So you're getting runners on base. They're not afraid to steal. Ooh, that looked good, and she didn't get the call. She's not happy. So Chouinard is not happy with that call. She popped to left field, so she got a bat on this one. Tell you, the crowd has gotten a lot bigger here in the outfield, that's for sure.
And almost look at the shortstop, Waterson, to shorten
you have to.
more.
That's in there for a strike. 1-1 count.
1-1.
And it's fouled off for a 1-2 count now. Again, I'm a little surprised that they're not playing small ball here and trying to advance these runners. Ooh, she almost went after that one. That'll even it up at 2-2.
Well, you talk about their number 4 hitter too.
Yeah, I understand that, but still. She got to stay with it. She waits too long, you know. She grabs the ball, brings it to her glove, and you just got to fire the ball, and that's going to be that's a base hit.
Base hit. This girl is a strikeout victim in the second.
So runners at first and second. Now, this is a key bunting situation for Pembroke, with runners at first and second. So you see Gagnon talking to Watterson, meaning that Watterson's got to cover third. But one thing that I noticed with Chouinard is she's got to get to that ball and barehand it and throw, not bring it back to your glove. So trouble for Goffstown here as Pembroke has runners at first and second with no outs. And that's a bunt. Lombardi catches it. And that's a great play by Allie Lombardi, who probably darted out about 10 to 12 feet in front of home plate to catch that one. Again, a lack of execution there by Pembroke cost them the ability to move those runners over. So now we got Parent, and she got on an error. That's a strike. What you're seeing here is some real good leads by the runner at second base for Pembroke. Fouled off. Again, Shannon Gifford's got to go and trail that just to keep that second base runner honest. One, 2 count. That's in the dirt. It's buggy here at Southern New Hampshire University. I will tell you that because I see the players trying to swat flies away from their face. 1-2 count. That's in there for a strike out. And that's just what the doctor ordered. So So Frumis hit the ball to Gagnon. So Gagnon's got to be careful, and so does Watterson. That ball probably be coming back. Players have a tendency, Bill, to hit in the same spots. That's in there for a strike.
Good pitch.
So Chouinard's trying to get out of a hole here. She got runners on first and second with no outs. A pop out to the catcher, and then a strikeout. And that's a swing and a miss, Bata. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Frumis. I'm sorry, no balls.
No
Yeah,
balls.
hopefully I'm pronouncing her name right, Catherine's name. And she pops one up to the first baseman, Purcell, and Goffstown gets out of a jam there. I mean, that was, as you said earlier, Bill, you can't afford, if your bats are not clicking, you can't afford to give up runs, and they're down by 1. And that was a good sigh of relief here for Goffstown, because that could have been trouble. So let's talk a little bit about execution. And it is all about execution, right, Bill? So Pembroke has runners at first and second base, and they attempt a bunt. And that bunt is a pop-up. So rather than executing the bunt and having runners at second and third base, maybe some things happen again. Maybe there's another wild pitch or something wacky happens, another run comes in, or it's a sac fly or a ground ball or something. Another run comes in. It's 2-0. But again, it's that one bit of execution.
Yeah, I also think that they really believe this is going to be a close game. And you got a 1-run lead. You don't want to try to sacrifice a person on the bases. I think they would love to see it, get another one, start to build the lead if they could. But we did the right thing. We stopped it. We shut the door.
Yeah.
Now we got to get the bats going.
And so far, we've gotten our players, many of our players have hit the ball, but they've either hit it they've hit grounders, and many times it's been a grounder literally right at the infielder. So in steps Mazurski, and she grounded out to third. It was almost like an attempt at a bunt, and they know her deal in terms of trying to bunt. That's high for ball 1. So I see we're joined in the booth by Adam McCune, the director of Goffstown Television, a man who, if not for all of his efforts, we wouldn't be here. That's in there. Oh, that's a ball. Okay.
Good eye,
hey.
Good eye.
2-0 count.
Be nice to get Mazurski.
Yeah, I
on
agree.
base with her
It
speed.
creates a lot of opportunities. That's another ball. 3-0 count. You can rest assured that Mazurski will not be swinging at this one. Not when you're down by a run in the bottom of the 4th inning. You got to get a base runner. That's in their first strike.
Okay.
You see Coach Matt Fleming at third, clapping his hands, smiling.
Batters count.
Let's see what Berube comes back with now.
Change.
That's high, and that's a walk for Mazurski. So that's what Goffstown needs. That's a leadoff base runner, and a very speedy one at that. So Fleming calls a timeout, wanted to talk to Gagnon. Now I'm going to say this, that it would be unconventional for Gagnon to bunt because it just is. I mean, she's more of a real strong hitter. But what I'm wondering here is they want to tempt their fate here with some sort of a show bunt, see if who rotates, and then steal after that. And she hits one that's gonna be caught by the right fielder. Ooh. And who got a great jump on it. But again, we're jumping on first pitches, and I don't understand this. Now, Bill, let's go back to coaching little kids, right? When the pitcher walks the preceding batter, you typically take the next couple of pitches.
Yeah. All right, Shannon's up this time. She did not have
she struggled in that first at bat, and she struck out. Mazurski is still at first. And she gets on another changeup, and this is exactly what they're gonna feed her a diet of these things. And again, this should not be anything new to Shannon because they did the same setup, fastball or whatever it is, then changeup. She's in an 0-2 hole. That's in the dirt.
Good pick up by the catcher.
And I don't know if they're going to run on this catcher. She seems like she has a really good arm. Now, if it gets away from her, it's a different story, but. And Gifford goes down swinging again. Uncharacteristic for her. And in steps Purcell, who had a single. So Purcell has quite a bit of power. She hit a home run last week as well. And she hits another one into center.
Stay at second.
So Purcell goes 2 for 2, and that was a stroke.
Yep.
So in steps Amber Davis with a runner in scoring position. I can almost give you a guaranteed prediction here that if it is a single into the outfield, Mazurski will score. She's that fast.
Yeah.
So Amber Davis has a runner in scoring position with Mazurski, Purcell at first. And she is way ahead of that one. So, yep.
Off speed again. But this girl really disguises her off-speed pitch.
But this is what separates the good pitchers, is that they keep them off balance. So good job by Berube. That's low. That evens the count at 1-1. Amber Davis also has good power. She fouls it off. It's a 1-2 count. She's got to protect now. And this is what sometimes gets her into a little bit of trouble, is when she tends to get into these types of counts, Bill.
Yeah. Actually gets tight in a count like this.
She hits one. That's going to be trouble. It's going to go get there. And she's out. I'll tell you, got to run a little bit harder on that. I don't know what happened, but.
1-6-3. If you look at Amber, I think she runs flat-footed.
I thought she really had a good chance of beating that one out. Just seemed like the play was going slower than I thought. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll have to watch it on the videotape.
No runs, 1 hit, 2 left on base. It brings us to the 5th inning.
See, it's those little things. We don't have the ability to show instant replay. I don't know if Amber got out of the box later, but it's those types of things where you got to take advantage. Because that was a good play to knock it down. So that was about the only real scoring opportunity for Goffstown with a runner at second base. Other than that, it's been Pembroke has kind of kept them off the base paths. So we're going to head into the top of the 5th inning. I'll tell you, this game is moving along pretty quickly. We started at around 5 o'clock. It is now 5:45. And right behind us, looks like we've got, I think it's Bedford. I'm sorry, who's playing behind us? It's a B. Belmont or something? Or Belmont High School.
Slap hitter.
So number 15 for Pembroke, McKaylee Loomis, she bunted for a single to get on. Gagnon should be playing in. That's in the dirt. 1-1 count. Yeah,
that was
great
nice
bunt. But I'm surprised that Gagnon is playing so deep, knowing that she did it. And she swings through that one for a 1-2. Popped up to the pitcher, and she gets it.
Yep. You know what I like to hear there?
Yeah.
It's my ball.
So Connolly, who walked and grounded, right.
Been on base twice. Scored the only run on the balk.
Ooh, that one looked good. That one looked right at the letters, and he was calling that before. Hit to the shortstop, beyond her, And that's a great hit by Connolly.
Justine made the crossover, but she needed one more
That ball was hit pretty hard. So Olivia Langevin, she lined out to the shortstop and grounded out to the pitcher.
Watch this girl in first,
will
though.
she
She's
steal?
got some speed. We got a ball, I guess.
That's another pop-up. Lombardi is under it, and she gets it. And I'm not.
What are we doing?
I don't know why that ball was thrown, because she was not taking a big lead. She was actually going back. So we got lucky on that one. Good job that Amber Davis was there to back that up. So that little mental miscue did not impact anything. 17, Connolly. Yeah. That's in there for a strike.
You know, in games like this, you can't try to do things you haven't done.
We got a 1-1 count with 2 outs, runner at first. That's hit to the third baseman, Gagnon, who throws over, and that's a miscue, and that's going to put runners at second and third. So
throwing the ball around.
So that error by Gagnon, that cost Goffstown a run. So that's so now there's 2 runs in for Pembroke, and they're going to talk a little bit here. So I will say this. The error is one thing, but the fact that a runner scored from first base on that error should never have happened.
No.
So they got a runner at third with 2 outs. And that's in there for a strike. So uncharacteristic for Goffstown. They've had 2 errors by the third baseman, Gagnon. And that's a strike. That's fired up Kaylee Schwinnard a little bit. Oh, that looked good, but she doesn't get the call. A 1-2 count. 2 outs. We're here in the top of the 5th inning. Goffstown trails 2-0. Foul ball. So give credit to Pembroke. I mean, they're pushing the issue here. And that's a strikeout for Schwinnard. So another run by Pembroke. Again, I would say that's probably another gift wrap run on that one because of the throwing error. And again, I'm not so sure that the throwing error to first base was, obviously that was precipitated things, but the runner who came all the way over and we weren't able to get him out, I would think that where that ball was picked up, they did cut the ball. And I don't think you don't cut that ball. I think Amber has such a strong arm. She's got to throw that ball home. Yeah. So again, let's talk a little bit, Bill, about how Pembroke has scored these runs. Scored a run by just getting a runner at first, and then getting that runner over to third through hook or crook, and then a balk. And then they get a base hit, and still runner at first. And then an error, right, with 2 outs. And then an error that brings that runner all the way from first all the way home. So I think you got to give credit to Pembroke. They're not exactly lighting the bats up here either, but they're doing a much better job forcing the issue and really creating opportunities, and Goffstown hasn't done that. The other thing that I will say is that I think Goffstown needs to take some more pitches here. Yeah.
We just got to make contact. Get the ball out of the infield, really.
But now most of these batters have Watterson. This will be their second time through seeing this girl, and I think she grounded line drive back to the pitcher. So now Watterson is in a hole. Now again, I'm not Nostradamus here, but I'm telling you that this girl throws a changeup on the second pitch almost 75% of the time. Yeah,
she doesn't back
right
up too fast.
So don't you know that? I mean, that's what you talk about when you're in the dugout. You're saying, hey, her second pitch is usually a changeup, so look for it. And if she beats you, she beats you. So good at bat for Watterson as she evens the count up at 2-2. Yeah, you do. You definitely need this leadoff runner on. She hits one to third. That's like a vacuum cleaner over there.
No, it's like.
And
yep.
So another great put out by Olivia McCarty.
We've only hit 2 balls really out of the infield.
Yeah, and they were both by Purcell. So Schwinnard steps in. She popped to second on a first pitch swing, I think. And she takes a ball.
Yep.
I'm curious to see if a runner gets on. Schwinnard's got good speed. Do they want to substitute her for a speedy runner and try to steal? That's going to be an out.
Oh,
That's
no.
going to be dropped.
No, it's a drop.
So an uncharacteristic error there for the pitcher. She had that ball. And let's see if the generosity of the scorer here. They gave her a base hit. They're very loving here at Snow. He gave her a base hit. That's fine. And Lendry is in. Let's see if she bunts. That's a beautiful bunt by Lendry. She's
no
foul ball.
Foul ball.
A beautiful bunt. You got to go back, Kara. That was a beautiful bunt by Lendry, who dragged it down the first base side. Or so they pushed it down the first base side.
Actually,
yeah.
She just played the field really there.
The first baseman didn't really make much of a move for that ball. Oh, so now she's in a quick 0-2 hole, and now, this is where this has been problematic for her. So if you're Matt Fleming, you have her try to bunting one more time?
Change up. Change-up's been her out pitch, really. What I say? Yep.
All right, I'm just going to say it here. I mean, do you test the runner? Do you test the catcher here? Yeah.
You're behind. You can't. I don't think you can.
Whoop.
Two-two.
2-2 count to Lendry. She swings and misses.
Again, one of those looping swings.
Well, again, I think she put herself in a little bit of a tough spot there with the bunts that we couldn't execute. So, again, that changes the dynamic of things. 2 outs now.
All right, Lombardi's got to get a hit today.
So Lombardi has grounded out to the third baseman and the shortstop.
I wonder if they're going to treat Lombardi like they treat Gifford, just give her a lot of off-speed stuff.
It's in the dirt. 1-1. And again, Goffstown saying, give us a little bit of a break here. We got to see something. Now, granted, they got a little bit of a break with that pop-up back to the pitcher, but you got to kind of capitalize on it. And that's going to be one bit of capitalization there. So she goes to second.
Base and
now it's Mazurski with runners at first and second base. She was able to draw a walk at her last at bat. So a hit for Lombardi. It's like Lombardi is doing a little bit of house cleaning here.
House clean.
So a big spot for Mussorgsky with 2 outs, batting in the 2 spot.
Yeah.
Third baseman is in, looking for the bunt, and that's low. It seems as if like Lombardi is almost asking for a throw down to first, and maybe that's what Goffstown is looking to do to see. Maybe they'll get a wild throw over there. And she's not even looking. The catcher is not even looking. Oh, no.
She's not
you wouldn't. Not with a 2-0 lead.
No. Oh,
Again, she follows that her fastball with an off-speed pitch many, many times. You almost have to look for it. So now she's in a 1-2 hole.
Ooh, stole a third, double steal.
Wow.
Oh.
Didn't expect that.
Oh, my gosh.
So a double steal for Goffstown, and Mussorgsky now has a 2-2 count, 2 outs, 2 runners in scoring position. A base hit will bring in a run. So now it's a 3-2 count, and you've got Gagnon on deck. So a big spot here, full count. And she strikes out. So Kate Mussorgsky had an opportunity there to bring in 2 runs, and she goes down swinging. So Goffstown,
no runs, 2 hits,
as we head into the top of the 6th.
Base.
So Goffstown's only going to have 2 more innings to score at least 2 to tie this game up. So they got to hold them here. No more runs can be given up by Goffstown, or else this might get out of control here.
Yeah. Plus, we got to put a couple together ourselves. You know, when you get runners on base, you got your number 2 hitter up. You sure hope that you're going to be able to get
my take on that one is that it's your hope that you put a bat on the ball, you know, and then let them make a play. But hey, if it was all that easy, everybody would be batting 1,000, right?
Yeah. So they're with 4, 5, and 6 up for them.
So again, to recap, Pembroke has plated 2 runs. They plated 1 run on a balk, and then they plated their 2nd run on a throwing error from Gagnon that went into the outfield. The first base runner ran all the way in, and I think Amber Davis threw to the cutoff, which I think was the first baseman, if I'm not mistaken. And then they were late in getting it in, and that run scored. So number 9, Rachel Denoncourt, 2nd base. She popped to left and got a base hit in her last at bat. And she hits one to Gagnon, and that's a quick out.
Okay.
So again, this game is moving at a breakneck pace.
We're
an hour into it. We were in the top of the 6th inning. Again, that's what happens when you have a low-scoring game. Now is number 22, Chloe Garrigan, the first baseman. She struck out and popped to the catcher. And she takes ball 1. And she pops up another one, but Lombardi didn't see it right, and it went the other way. And that's where the pitcher has to point, you know, or yell.
Well, yell. You gotta, and you know what? There's somebody on the bench standing there too. They could help out too.
That was not an easy play. I think she just misread it a bit. One of the toughest plays for a catcher to make is that one. That's, whoa, late swing. Yeah.
Lucky we have a fence.
Goffstown bench is pretty quiet, as is the Goffstown fans that are sitting along the third baseline. So Carignan has a 1-2 count with 1 out, and she goes down swinging. That was a very late swing by Carignan, and it's her second K of the day for her.
This is the girl that hit the ball to Gagnon in the second and then struck out.
So Danielle Parent steps in, the right fielder, and she had a nice catch today. And that's hit foul.
Yeah, she's a pull hitter. You can see the way she gets on top of the ball there. Maybe the outfielder would.
I would think you would. I would think you would, but they're playing her straight away, and I think you're right. Especially in a close game, I think you want to 0-2 count. Do you play the lines when you're in a close game like that, or no? Or you wait, or you defend gaps? I don't know.
Move her and move the center fielder too.
Hit to Watterson, fields it cleanly. I mean, man, she's smooth. And that's the third out. So Goffstown gets them out 1, 2, 3, and we're going to head into the bottom of the 6th inning. This game is, like I said, this thing could be over in 15 minutes.
So we got 3, 4, and 5 up.
So Goffstown, yeah, right. They'll bring in Taylor, Gagnon, Gifford, and Purcell.
By now we should understand what she's throwing and when she's throwing the.
And again, what is the distance on our fence in Goffstown? 185, I think.
I think
195.
Yeah, I think this is. Further.
So down the line, it's actually, if you go straight down the lines, it's 190, which would be comparable to Goffstown. But if you're looking at dead, right, the fence is higher, and if you're looking at center field, that's quite the poke. And I only say that because coming up, what you have right now are Gagnon and Gifford and Purcell all have home run potential. And you got to get on base.
First got to get on base.
So again, we're going to see Gagnon, Gifford, and Purcell. If any of them get on, we'll see Amber Davis.
Actually, Gagnon's hit the ball twice.
And so far, Purcell has had half of the Goffstown's hits. So here's Gagnon. And she takes her first pitch for ball 1. Again, Gagnon's got to be patient. Her job is to get on. Leadoff hitter's got to get on here. She hits one to the shortstop, who almost sails one.
Ooh.
So,
yep.
Yeah.
She's smooth, though.
So what Shannon will probably see is some sort of a fastball low outside, and then after that it'll be a changeup. Let's see what they throw her. Changeup for the first pitch. And they've got her guessing all game long. And she swings through that one. So she's in an 0-2 hole.
Watch her
I say you're right.
Another changeup.
And she didn't get that one. That one looked pretty good, but it must have been way outside. 1-2 count to Gifford, 1 out. In the dirt, 2-2 count. Shannon's going to need to shorten up her swing a little bit and just work for a base hit. Don't worry about the power here. Just make contact.
In front of the left fielder.
And then she puts one out of play.
A little late.
Still a 2-2 count to Gifford. Goffstown trails 2-0 here in the bottom of the 6th inning. And she hits one back to the shortstop. This will be an easy play. Nope.
Really didn't get a full piece of it.
I tell you, between the shortstop and the third baseman, they've had about 10 putouts between the two of them. So Purcell has been really the only consistent hitter for Goffstown. She's had 2 base hits right up the middle, and they were really good base hits. Let's see if they even try to pitch around her. And she gets another base hit.
Another hit. Stop.
Now I think you got to put in a runner. You got to put in a runner now for Purcell. You got to burn or sub, and they're going to do that. They're going to put Tegan Coyle in.
Well, it's a great game so far.
3 for 3, and she stroked
3.
every single one of them.
Yep.
So a great game for Megan Purcell, senior.
She can
re-enter, but what that means is that Tegan is not allowed to re-enter.
Right.
So they're trying to get some speed on the bases.
Come on, Amber, come on, you need a hit.
So what has Amber done? She has fielder's choice.
Fielder's choice.
And a ground out.
1-6-3.
So real good speed at first for Goffstown and number 5 Coyle.
The only way she'll go is if the ball goes by the catcher, I believe.
Because based upon that, a couple of snap throws by Connolly, I'm not so sure I want to throw against her, and that's going to be a hit. So that should go to take. She's going to take third.
Yep.
But now, Amber can get again. Now I sub Amber Davis as a runner. I burn another one, and now I got to get a speedy runner who can take second base. So you got to get another runner for Goffstown, and they're going to put in Fournier, number 4. Yeah, you got to do this. You got to put speed on the base paths here, and again, this is more or less typically it's a runner indifference play. But if you're able to execute, if you do throw it, they might because they're up by a run. And it's 2 outs, right.
Just be careful.
A lot of times when you do this, you show bunt to try to block the vision of the catcher. You follow? And if you're going to do it.
I think we're playing it safe.
So you got Watterson with a 1-0 count with 2 outs, runners at first and third. She hits one to the second baseman who bobbles it. Safe! And a run scores for Goffstown. So a great hustle. So that'll tell you something. Give credit to Justine Watterson, who booked her way down to first base on a real close play. That was a very close play. But I'll tell you, it's an error on the second baseman who has not had almost any balls hit to her.
Right.
So now Goffstown cuts the deficit to 2-1, and you've got Watterson on, and now Schwinnard, who's the pitcher, has an opportunity here to help her own cause. Squeeze. I don't think so, my friend. I don't think you do that.
Do we send Watterson?
I don't know if she has the speed, to be honest with you. And that's right at the second baseman. I don't know why you do why you're hitting on the first pitch. So anyway, Goffstown plates a run. It's 2-1 as we head into the top of the 7th. So good job. They were able to do that. But again, I'm just not a big fan of a first pitch swinging. And I say that because Kaylee Schwinnard and some of these other batters who are doing it, they don't strike out that much. I can understand if you're a player who has had a propensity to strike out, you want to take the first good pitch that you can see. But in that particular situation, I want to go deep in the count. I want to see what happens. And here's why, Bill. We got a runner at third base, right? Don't you want her to pitch 2 to 3 pitches? Maybe one gets away. All right? You got to play smart. I mean, they scored on a balk, you know? So I just think you've got to try to create. But anyway.
Well, we've been aggressive most of the day anyway, when we look at it. And if we had taken more pitches, maybe we would have been in a different situation.
No.
You
And
never
listen,
can tell.
it's always hard to second guess. I'm just talking about the situation at hand. And I think for that situation, it's not like this pitcher has been lights out. I mean, I think, how many strikeouts does she have? Maybe 4?
2,
I haven't been keeping track.
2,
It's not many.
2.
I've got Gifford with 2. I got Mazurski with 1,
3,
and Landry 4. So she's
4.
got 4 strikeouts. So she's not like totally dominating you. So we go to the top of the 7th, and that's low for ball 1. So a nail biter here at Southern New Hampshire University, a 2-1 lead by Pembroke, and that's in there for a strike.
Well, this inning, you just don't give them another run.
So 18 is Catherine Frumis. She's the designated hitter, and she hits one foul on the third base side. You're right. You can't afford to give them back any runs here. You got to keep it as a one-run game and hope and pray you can do something to plate another run to tie it up.
Every ball, if they hit a ball, every ball's got to be kept in front of you also.
Landry's playing a little shallow, and that was a great off-speed pitch to take out Rumas. And in will be McKaylee Loomis.
She bounced out to third and popped up to the pitcher, but a good bunter too.
That's hit to the second baseman. Easy play over, and that's a second out. So again, you know, aside from the balk, aside from a couple of throwing errors, they've
actually put ourselves
played a
in
pretty.
this situation.
I mean, Kaylee Schwarn has played a pretty damn good game. I mean,
Right.
So 17 Connolly, and that's a strike. She's had an awesome game. She hit a hit to right field. She's been a wrecking crew and just has done an awesome job behind the plate. Off-speed pitch and doesn't get it. That looked like it dropped like right in there for a strike, but she didn't get it. And I think, you know, that's a hard call for an umpire to make sometimes, where it actually dips into the dips through the strike zone. 1-2 count with 2 outs. So Chouinard is making quick work. Again, we're at 6:15 here, and we're in the top of the 7th inning. We've only played for an hour and 15 minutes. And that's hit to the shortstop. That's a base hit. Yeah.
No, another hit.
So she's been a wrecking crew.
But she's had a great game.
So Olivia Langevin steps in, and let's see what she's done today, Bill.
Popped out to third, pitcher to first, and unassisted catcher.
0-1 count with 2 outs. Connolly, I think she scored a run on one of those errors, right? That's going to be trouble. Mazurski gets it. Okay,
No,
so here we go, folks. We're going into the bottom of the 7th inning, and Goffstown, put on your rally caps, folks, because we're down by a run, and this is it. So if Goffstown can't plate one here, they go home. So I'll tell you, Bill, you know, this has just been a really good game. You know, it is what it is in terms of throwing errors and balks, and it's a 2-1 game now, and it's about plating a run. And you got it through hook or crook. You got to get a run in. You got to lengthen this game.
Well, we go with Landry. Do you let Landry bat? She's had a tough day.
I say no.
Or do you?
I say you don't. I say you put in Olivia Brennan and or another batter. Let's see what they're going to do here. Because you're right, and it's tough because she has had she was on fire in the beginning, and it looks like they're going to be doing that. Brandon is going to be batting for Landry.
But again, she's got to be selective.
And that's what they're
too.
talking to her about. It's like, you got to take pitches here. Your job is to take pitches. and not strike out looking. Okay, if you're going to strike out, you strike out swinging.
Yeah.
So big. Here we go, folks. People should be on their feet here in Goffstown, and I know they are here. They're very vocal here on the Pembroke sideline, cheering on their team. So Brennan steps in, number 14. She's a reserve player brought up from the junior varsity to bat for, for Kara Lendry. And I'll tell you, Kara has had just an unbelievable year. Struggled as of late, but she was a second-team All-State. And I don't know if you're going to find a finer center fielder than Kara Lendry. So you're going to see on deck you'll have Lombardi and then Mazurski. And Brennan takes that first pitch for a ball. And again,
boy, she's making a small strike zone up there.
She fouls it off. That was in there for a strike. So a 1-1 count to Brennan. Goffstown bench is up and cheering. Goffstown needs one to extend this game. Off-speed pitch to the third baseman. That'll be easy work for the third baseman as she throws out Olivia Brennan. Yep.
On a changeup, too.
Yeah. So Lombardi has had a hit in 3 at-bats. She's also, the other 2 times, she grounded a third and grounded a short. And I'll tell you,
she's just got to get the ball in
one of
play.
my MVPs for the Pembroke team would be Connolly and the third baseman, as far as I'm concerned.
Yep.
Olivia McCarty and the third baseman, and Brianna Connolly. Not to mention the pitcher's done a nice job as well. So in steps Lombardi with nobody on. 1 out in the bottom of the 7th inning. Goffstown desperately needs a base runner. And that's in there for a strike. I'm going to tell you this. I think I'd play a little deeper. I play no doubles defense here right now if I'm Pembroke. And that is a changeup. That was a beautiful
nice
pitch by Berube, who just really buckled her knees,
buckled the knees of Lombardi.
So she's way ahead here on an 0-2 count with Mazurski on deck.
Outside.
And that's a pop-up. That's playable to the center fielder, and that's an out. So Goffstown is down to their last at-bat with Kate Mazurski. So Kate Mazurski is Goffstown's last hope here. She's got to get on. Third and first are playing in. And she takes her first pitch for ball 1. On deck, you've got Taylor Gagnon. And she fouls one off the catcher's face mask to even the count at 1-1. So Goffstown's season is 1 out away from ending. Kate Mazurski is at the plate with a 1-1 count. Here comes the pitch. She fouls another one off. So in one more strike and Pembroke advances. And I think you're going to see a fastball dead red right down the middle and Ken Mazurski catch up to it. And that's what they've been setting her up all with. Is foul it off, get into an 0-2, get into a 2-strike count, and just throw in by her. And let's see if they stick to that strategy. And they do, and that's it. So congratulations to the Pembroke Academy as they win 2-1 over Goffstown in a great game. Well played by Pembroke Academy. Stephanie Berube really pitched a great game. I thought she kept Goffstown's batters off pace, right?
Yeah, I agree. I think the changeup was a big pitch for her today. I just don't think we adjusted well to it. And
you do. You got to give credit to Pembroke. They did a nice job. Goffstown had a tremendous season. Fell a little bit short. Kaylee Schnort I think had a very effective game, but the errors and the balk and the errors, that's what kind of cost them the game. But it's like anything else, that stuff kind of happens. Your bats have to produce as well, and if you can't plate more than a run,
that's what we talked about.
It's hard to win.
That's what we talked about early.
Yeah.
The mistakes, and the mistakes come to haunt you.
Well, I think there are mistakes in all these high school games. It's when they come at certain times, but I'll be honest with you. Like for me, yes, I know it's about mistakes, but for me, it's also about bats. And when your bats go cold, you gotta. This is a pretty good hitting team, and they just weren't really able to put a bat on the ball, with the exception of Megan Purcell. I think obviously she went 3 for 3,
Great
had
game.
probably one of the best games that I've seen her have. She was zoned in. But with that said, congratulations to Pembroke. And we're going to see there'll be another game coming up here, which we won't be filming, and that's going to be Milford versus Sauhegan. So Goffstown goes down 2-1. We're going to close it out. Bill, any special words that you want to conclude by?
All I can say is I really think they had a good season. Remember the number of players they lost the previous year, and I think Matt did a good job putting this team together. And they should be proud of what they've done. Yeah, you would like to move ahead, but you know what? It wasn't there.
Yep,
and you
do. You got to give credit to the Pembroke team, and I want to congratulate the Goffstown Grizzlies softball team. It's been a pleasure calling these games with you, Bill, and I want to thank not only you, but Butch and Brad and Adam McCune, you name it, all the folks that have been so helpful to us, that allow us to do this type of work. And again, a big credit to the girls program, Matt Fleming and his coaching staff. They do it the right way, and it's truly an honor to be part of the program and to be able to broadcast this. So we're going to conclude here, and we're going to say goodbye to Southern New Hampshire University. Again, your final score is Pembroke 2, Goffstown 1.